Hi everyone, I'm Noye and this is Afrific Rift Space. Today we'll be reviewing Mbue's Behold the Dreamers. Mbue is a Cameroonian writer and this is her debut novel. It was first published in 2016 by Random House in the US. The novel gave her the prestigious PEN/Faulkner Award for fiction in 2017, and it was also on the reading list of Winfrey Oprah's book club in 2017. It has been translated into 11 languages, has been made into a stage play and an opera. It has given her a lot of awards and recognitions, and this is why we are looking at this novel in this space. Plot summary. The novel revolves around two families' attempt to achieve fulfillment and happiness in America. The first family is the genders. They are illegal immigrants from Cameroon who spend the first 2 years of their life in America peacefully, and eventually the illegal status of the husband becomes a problem. They try to legalize their stay in America through the asylum seeking route, but it doesn't work out. And then the man also loses his job at that point in time. So the frustration of not being able to take care of his family and the anxiety that he might be deported at any point in time all combine to make him very touchy and irritable. So this begins to affect his relationship with his wife. However, eventually, when they decide to return to Cameroon to restart their lives, they are able to find peace. Then the second family is the Edwards. They are the opposite of the genders because they are legal citizens of America and they are members of the high echelon of society, but their own challenge is that there's no love in their marriage. So they are trying to manage this marriage, and at that point Edward's organization goes bankrupt. Another organization buys up that financial institution, and Edward is trying to nurse his loss and see how to manage his life. And at that same time, a story is published in a tabloid newspaper about Edward and a prostitute, where the prostitute talks about how Edward pays for her services with bailout money. This is obviously the handiwork of his opponents. They want to put the blame for the bankruptcy of their organization on Edward. But this story does something terrible to his marriage. It creates a huge rift between him and his wife. And the woman, in trying to cope with her depression, eventually dies. So that's the plot summary. The themes of the novel focus on love and friendship, the anxieties of illegal immigrants in America, the influence of childhood trauma in the attainment of selfhood, and the quest for healthy family relationships. So many critics who have read this text, they read it from the lens of the illusion of the American dream. So when we look at the title of the novel, it is Behold the Dreamers. So even from the title, they've been set up to fail. You know how it is in the dream. You are sleeping and you begin to dream and you think it's real world, and then you wake up and you see it's an illusion. So the American dream, that's what they are saying, is an illusion. But I want to read this text from the perspective that childhood trauma disrupts the attainment of selfhood in individuals, especially in the life of Cindy, the wife of Edward. And to frame my argument for this review, I'm looking at two key concepts: trauma and selfhood. So what is trauma? According to Gabor-Mate, Hungarian-Canadian physician, he explains trauma as whatever early experience that kills your faith in your own possibilities. It could be a very sensitive child who the world doesn't see for who they are, who the world doesn't permit to express themselves, so they shut off from themselves in order to be accepted by the world. Anything that breaks your connection to yourself and your genuine belief in yourself, that will be trauma. In other places, it defines trauma as a wound. It is a wound. It is what happens inside you as a result of what happened to you. So the emotional response that people give to their ugly, horrible, harsh experiences like accidents, rape, or any kind of violent act against someone. When a child perceives themselves as not wanted, they feel that it is because they do not deserve to be loved. They will develop a sense of not being good enough, not being lovable enough, Thus, all their life, they try to prove that they are lovable and enough, and that creates all kinds of behavior that causes more problems. So, what Gabomate is saying is that when a child is treated badly by the parents, that the child takes the blame for that ill treatment, they'll feel that they are not lovable enough, that they are not adequate enough. So when they begin to grow into adults, they set this goal for themselves to prove to the world that they are lovable and adequate. But the problem is they've not healed their consciousness. So they are trying to solve this problem from a place of inadequacy, from a place of anxiety and fear. So their behavior will continue to reflect the fear in their consciousness. So whatever they do, instead of solving the problem, they cause more problems for themselves. So that's what Gabomate is saying. Then the next word is selfhood. According to Carl Jung, the great psychologist, it is a state that an individual attains when they have in great measure freed themselves from the compromising influence of collective opinion and feeling, and has thereby reached a clear conception of their own individuality. So Ralph Waldo Emerson talks about this in his famous essay Self-Reliance, where he talked about trusting in oneself, believing in oneself. What you think is good for you should also be good for the other person. Just not holding on to foolish consistency, So it means that at some point in somebody's life, you get to a point where you have to make crucial decisions. And probably family members are saying the decision you want to make is not the right decision for you. They are looking at mainstream values. They want to align with what society wants. But when the individual is able to look inwards and tell themselves that the decision they are taking is what is right for them at that point in time, it means that they have attained selfhood. So in my review of Season of Migration to the North by Taib Sadi, I talked about the protagonist, Mustafa Said, who had this kind of toxic, dysfunctional relationship, family upbringing. Like his mother is already psychologically destroyed. The mother is not able to show him love and validation. So the love and validation that a child is supposed to get from the parents, this child does not get it. He has a very lonely childhood, and eventually he has this emptiness in him that he tries to feel, but he's not able to feel it. Already he has antisocial behavior. So even when people show him love, he's not able to return the love. What he keeps giving back is something infectious, something destructive. So Carl Jung talks about how the parents of children, parents in the formative years of their children, they have a lot of roles to play. They impact their children's lives either positively or negatively, depending on what models they leave for their children. So this is the kind of thing that we find in Cindy's life. Cindy is the product of rape. Her father, a stranger, rapes her mother, and for reasons that the text does not explain, the government does not allow this woman to abort the pregnancy. So she gives birth to a baby that she does not want, and from the time the baby is born to the time the baby becomes an adult and leaves home, the baby is maltreated, psychologically abused. Even when Cindy tries to make her mother to love her, the mother will look at her face and remember the stranger that violated her, because Cindy has the features of her father. So every attempt to appease her mother makes the mother to feel even more frustrated and to hate her the more. So Cindy decides that when she grows up and gets her own family, that she's going to try to give herself all the experiences that she's not able to get from her relationship with her mother. So when she marries into wealth, and she tries to build her family in this way that is nourishing. But the problem is that she has this linear way of looking at things. Everybody must do things the way she wants things to be done. So she blames her husband for not being there for their children. And the husband says, he understands his duty to be to provide for his family financially, and he does that very well. But Cindy would say you're supposed to be where they are doing, maybe if the children are participating in sporting activities or doing something, that he should be there to cheer them up, that is a way to show that he loves them. But the man says that his job is so demanding that he needs to pay attention to that Cindy should take care of the home front. So each time they don't do things the way Cindy wants things to be done, Cindy will begin to think about her childhood, how her mother rejected her, and how her husband and her sons are rejecting her. So when Vince, her first son, decides to go to India, Cindy sees that as a form of rejection too. So everything is personal for her, and when she feels depressed, she will begin to take alcohol to try to cope with it, and she will begin to remember her childhood days. So she's never a happy person. One moment she's happy, the next she's unhappy, and this happiness is something she waits for people in her life to create for her. So that's the problem. Then her husband's driver's wife, that's Nenny, sometimes used to walk in their house, and she makes this observation about Cindy, that Cindy is obsessed with outside validation. And I quote, Cindy seemed to have a near obsession with being where everyone was and doing what everyone was doing. Within 4 days, Nenny noticed that she was on the phone with a friend at least once a day, wondering if the friend had gotten an invitation to so-and-so's cocktail party, or this and that dinner party, or that upcoming gala or wedding. On the few occasions when her friends apparently told her they had gotten their invites and she hadn't gotten hers, she seemed to be in physical pain, her deep sighs and suddenly slumped shoulders and sad voice, revealing to Nenny that despite the fact that she was telling her friends that it was okay, she wasn't okay. This desperation to always be a part of something, always maintain a sense of specialness thanks to the actions of others, baffled Nenny. So this is also one of her ways of trying to prove that she is lovable and adequate enough. As a child, her mother isolated her, alienated her. So now as an adult, she feels that the way to make herself feel loved is to always be where other people are. And then, but she does not create this happiness. She keeps waiting for them. So wedding invitation, birthday invitation. If she doesn't get an invitation, she'll begin to think that maybe something is wrong with her. So that is how she moves from happiness to sadness all the time. Then her sense of insecurity is also seen when she gives her husband's driver a notebook and tells the man to always write down wherever he takes her husband to. And that's her way of trying to like find out if her husband is seeing another woman. And then the man, of course, knows what she wants, and he decides he's not going to be the one to tell her the truth. So each time he takes his boss to the hotel to see a prostitute, he would write that he actually took the man to the gym. And then during that period, when Cindy reads the diary, she'll be so happy. Oh, my husband loves me. He's so loyal to me. He doesn't look at other women. So eventually, when the story in the tabloid newspaper is published and she reads it, she's so embarrassed and her world crashes around her. She is angry with her husband's driver for not telling her the truth. She feels that the black man, must have been mocking her. And then for her husband to go to a prostitute for her means total rejection, so she feels she cannot face the world with that kind of embarrassment. And so she begins to try to cope with alcohol and drugs. And eventually, her husband, because this causes a huge rift between them, the husband moves out. He says he's tired, he cannot continue to pretend. So he moves out of their home and goes to a hotel. Then Vince is in India. Then the little boy, the day that Cindy dies, the little boy is not at home. Cindy takes a lot of alcohol and painkillers, and then she begins to vomit. And according to narrator, she drowns in her own vomit. So that's how she dies. So she's not able to attain selfhood because of childhood trauma. And then the novelist leaves us with a very tough question to answer. The question is, should a woman abort a baby that is the product of a rape, or allow the baby to grow, So in the case of Cindy is giving birth to, but all her life from cradle to the time she dies, she is miserable, and then she dies in the way she dies. So the question is, what should be done in this kind of situation? Cindy's death actually gives some kind of position, but I'm not saying this is Mbue's position. I'm just saying we should look at this and then think about it. It's a very tough question to answer, but it's something we can reflect on. Then another thing I like about the novel is the relationship between Neni and her husband. They have a very good relationship. They are able to discuss tough issues. They put their heads together to solve their problems. Sometimes when they're trying to solve their problem, they begin to fight and scream at each other. But in no time, they will resolve their differences and you see their love again. Is very smooth sailing. So if you are looking to read a text that explores the challenges and anxieties of illegal immigrants abroad, this is the novel to sit with. If you have not read it yet, go buy your copy from Amazon or eBay and then tell me how you feel about the review. Ask me questions. If you like the review, let me know. If there are things you want me to talk about, like any novel you want me to review, also let me know. And if you have not subscribed to this channel, hit the subscribe button right now. And then share and like this video. Yeah, it will help to spread the message to everybody. And again, it's not just for people in literature, it's for everybody. I mean, you will get something valuable from watching the review. So have a beautiful 2026. May the light of the Creator shine on all of us. Amen. Till next time, take care.